greenhouse, back in the greenhouse. Good morning. How we doing? Well, we've got everything cleared out of the greenhouse. Now we're starting to put stuff back into the greenhouse. Let me show you what we've been doing. First of all, our strawberry plants that we've had outside all summer. Got a couple there and another few over here. They were brought in to get them out of the weather. Still got a couple strawberries there. That one's going bad though. They were brought in to get them out of the weather because we've had some torrential rain lately. And what I have to do with these, I've got to clip everything down and then I'm going to cover them up with straw and leave them like that for the winter, and they'll be happy enough in here. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, up overhead, I have this bit of chicken wire. Well, I didn't have any place to put my onions when we picked them, and I've decided I'm going to put them up there for now and let them dry. And that's our job for today. We're going to get the onions out of the ground and get them spread out up there, and they'll start drying. Okay, let's head out in the garden and we'll start picking onions. Oh, the onions are looking like they're ready to be picked. Most of them have fallen over. The couple that haven't fallen over, I think they're almost too sturdy to fall over. Yeah, it's time to get those out of the ground. Let's take a real quick look at our carrots, so see how they're doing. They're coming up within the next week. They've taken a beating with the wind. We have had a lot of wind and rain. A little bit of Hurricane Melissa came down through here. Now we're getting buried in with leaves here as well. So later on in the week, you can see we even put a bit of frost cloth on top of these. So they'll be coming up within the week. But for now, let's get back at our onions. Stop. Okay, now, just gently. Usually the onions, it's nice to pick them when they're dry, when the ground is dry and comes off them nicely. But the fall has turned wet. I really don't think we're going to be able to afford the luxury of having the ground dry out anymore now. It may dry a little bit on the surface, but that's about it. Some of these here are still pretty small. Just pulling them up, roots and all. We'll be brushing the dirt off them as they dry. They do have very nice roots on them, though. And this big one here. That's a nice onion. So we're going to put those over in the greenhouse on that bit of chicken wire. And over the next week or two, hopefully they'll dry there. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are more experienced with onions than I am. And, this guy's tight. He's well down there. Look at this, look at this. Oh, what a root system on that. My understanding from what I've been reading, is that I should take these and put them to dry, but I do not want to take off the roots or the stalk, because having that intact is critical for them to dry. That's what I understand. So that's my plan. Or like they say, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. These have very nice roots on them, though. I'll move you guys over a little bit here. Yeah, they'll never dry out here in the ground now with all the rain that we've been getting. We had an extraordinarily dry summer, but now we're getting quite a few hurricanes coming up the seaboard. But also we're getting some major storms that are starting right here in Atlantic Canada and across the northeastern US. Yeah, I must say the roots on these here are really nice. If we had the time to leave them in the ground longer, let them keep growing, I'm sure they'd all be really large onions by spring. Some of them are just as much root as they are onion. I see some evidence there of wireworm actually going into it. I didn't think wireworms would go after onions, but apparently they do. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of these are small, just as I saw with the carrots. The carrots were small on one side of the bed and nice and large on the other side. And the same thing here. The bigger ones are over there and smaller ones are over here. It's not because of shade. But I do find that interesting. Looks like we will have a half decent crop of onions though. Get them all to dry so we can put them in storage. Maybe we have another 50 to 70 millimeters of rain coming tomorrow. High winds, over 100 kilometers in some cases. So that's going to saturate everything to the point that is really going to be hard to get these to dry. They're going to be hard enough now. A lot of this soil is almost like a mud. All right, let's get these couple here. Not much to that guy. Not much more than a root. In irony, his neighbor here, growing really well. Whoop. All right, let's straighten this up a little bit here. There we go. Once these dry a little bit, I'll be able to brush this dirt off them much easier. Now, in an effort of keeping myself from getting backlogged on a lot of this stuff, I don't want to pick too much one time. You know the way it works with me. I picked too much at one time. Another one didn't work out too well. Then I end up with a pile of stuff in the house or in the greenhouse, and I don't get time to deal with it. So, in an effort to make it so that I can deal with it, the carrots, I think I'm going to give them less than a week, but they will be up within a week. By next weekend, they'll be out of the ground. It may even be next weekend. If the weather works out well, that's what we're going to do. And that'll be it for our harvesting out here. Looks like I'm going to have my bucket full. Do, 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 do. I can smell these onions so much. It's one thing that we really notice about growing our own onions. When you start cutting them in the kitchen, everybody's going to cry. We find that they have so much flavor compared to bought onions. There's just no comparison. So, what's going through my mind as I'm picking these few here? You see that there's plenty of root on them, but they're still quite small. Now, onions are slow growing anyway. Some people even tell you it takes 2 years to grow onions. I start them usually in February. But having so much root on them and the onions being so small tells me they probably weren't getting the nutrients that they needed. The ground probably wasn't rich enough. I didn't put very much manure. I'm not sure if I put any on these this year. But more manure would get them growing faster and stronger. Got a couple little ones down here. What do we have? Yeah. See, we have next to nothing there. So just not getting what it needs to grow. We've got one right here. Yeah. So some of them, they're just not getting it. And we have one there. Yeah, almost left that one behind, didn't we? All right. You guys see any more? Am I missing any? I think I got them all. So there's our bucket of onions. We're going to take those over now and get them spread out on that chicken wire. What do we have here? We have another one. Oh, we got a little tiny guy there. Oh yeah, he's good. We'll take it. Don't want to leave any behind if we can help it. All right, guys, I think we got them. Let's head over to the greenhouse. Oh, there they go, there they go, there they go. Onions everywhere. Okay, let's get them picked up. I lost a couple. There we are. All right. Now, I haven't spread them out like this before. Last year, I had my chicken wire put on a frame. And I put that frame in the backyard. And after a couple days of sun, it came to rain. And my onions got damp. And so I hung them up in my workshop, which I thought was dry enough. But they didn't dry out the way they needed to. So I'm hoping in here where we can get a bit of sun, we can get some air flowing. I can even start the fans if need be. I'm hoping I'll be able to dry them out a little bit better. We'll see how that works. And we're just going to take these guys. Looks like they're all going to want to roll around a bit anyway, but the main thing is that we get them up there in the air. Up where they're going to get a nice airflow around them and dry out. Probably not the best solution, but it's my solution. That's what I'm going to go with for now. So I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I just turned on my little Chinese diesel heater over here. Just because my fingers are froze. We have, we're around 5 degrees here in the greenhouse. That's about the same as it is outside there. It's colder than I like. So we got a little bit of heat going for a few minutes. And that'll also help to dry the air in here now as we bring these in. Get them laid out. Whoop, that one got down through. Yeah, why don't we put a few over this way? Now we're nearing the end of our growing season. And with this part of things slowing down, I have been doing some other stuff. Actually, I've been doing it right through the summer. But like many of the things that I've moved toward in my life since retiring, I'm trying to look after myself a bit better. And what sometimes keeps me busy, as well as my growing in the garden, is my hiking. I've got another channel. You may want to check it out as this one slows down. It is A Life of Echoes. On YouTube, you'll find A Life of Echoes. And we've been doing some short hikes, some through the woods, some on broom trails. But these hikes often have a little bit of a theme to them, whether it be some memories from the past. Lots of times we'll even have a little boil up. And I'm hoping to get into that a little bit more now as the winter comes and we can get some open fires on the go again. We've been doing everything on the stove so far. But check it out, YouTube, A Life of Echoes. We got some of these small ones here are determined to jump down through. we're just going to find some place here to put them. They'll dry. There we go. There's our onions for 2025. Not bad. Not bad. They'll do for a while. Warm my fingers a little bit over here at the heater. So for now, I think that's it. We'll let them dry. Next week, we're going to get at the carrots, get those out of the ground. I expect a real nice harvest there. They look like they're getting nice and big. We'll see you next time, right here in the greenhouse.